Thank you for joining the Syndicate Network and your host, Skywalker the Jedi. Skywalker the Jedi.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Skywalker the Jedi, back at y'all with another one. Excuse me for the echo. I was still pulling some receipts. Hold on, let me get that taken care of. And then we are live. All right. Much love, y'all. Much love, y'all. How y'all feeling today? Thank y'all for being here. Y'all could be anywhere else in the world right now, but you're here with me locked in, and I appreciate that. Man, we are going to have a dope conversation tonight, and thank y'all for being here. Sorry, it was pulling some last minute receipts. You know what I'm saying? Got to make sure that we having this conversation properly. You dig? Much love to all y'all out there that's rocking out and with us tonight. So far, we got 14 people across 3 platforms. Thank y'all for being here early, and we're gonna have a dope conversation. Did the YouTube notification go out? I don't think so. YouTube hating on your boy again, but it's all good though, because we here. Matter of fact, let me make sure I send this out to the one person that I really want to see this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they be having my family members talking about they ain't getting notifications. Every time I'm having one of these kind of conversations, strangely enough, don't nobody get no kind of notification, right? All of a sudden, YouTube don't want to say that I'm live. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, ain't nothing working right. StreamYard start tripping just like it's doing now. I'm trying to upload this last little receipt. Y'all give me 1 second, man. This is crazy. Don't mind that other Skywalker that popped in. All right. Thank you for you guys. Thank you guys for your patience. I think I got that in here now. I think I did. Right. Yes. It is in there. All right. Much love, y'all. To thank y'all for tapping in. We got Bad Dan in the building. What's going on? Bad Dan. We got Kobe Tier, Mr. Wayne, L Necron. He said, I got notifications that you were going live. How I know that something's wrong is that because every time that I go live, I get one on my phone. And I didn't get one. And I'm pretty sure that the person that I just sent it to didn't get one either. Because he's like, yo, hey. But we here though. We are live and they ain't about to stop this conversation. Hopefully we'll have some more people popping in to the conversation soon. But whether that happens or not, we about to get to these topics because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I wanted to bring you guys this conversation, and it's the only day that I could do it this week. We are going to be having a very fun and entertaining stream tomorrow that I'm very much looking forward to. And I'm also going to be doing a birthday stream on Thursday where I'm going to just be hanging out and chilling, but man, this is a very exciting time, and I'm very excited about this conversation that we about to have. All right. We got the homie, the Curly Ray with the member for 8 months chat saying, hey, everyone, just want to stop by and say hello to y'all before I head to bed. I'll be on replay crew before this. Y'all have a wonderful stream. Thank you for tapping in, Curly Ray, big supporter of the platform. Dude been putting in mad work with the cell movement and just out there repping Zach and Rebel Moon and new and big ways, man. Geeked Week representative, from the syndicate. It's just dope, man. So we appreciate you, Curly Ray, for being here and for tapping in. And in the spirit of that, let me go ahead and hit you with this drop, bro.
Yep.
Syndicate Network.
Hey, dope. Shouts out to all y'all. But let's get through this opening rigmarole before we get the show started. Make sure that you guys are hitting that like button, subscribing, hitting that notification bell as well. Comment. It all helps the channel with the algorithm and our placement in it and trying to boost the bandwidth of these here messages. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys are checking that out. And yeah, I don't want to get into a whole bunch of the other stuff because I don't like, kind of cross-pollinating when it comes to those kind of subjects, right? But yo, I'm here today because I want to kind of frame this conversation in a different way, right? As I look out and I see, all these things going on in our current climate in our country and all this stuff, I see a lot of passion. I see a lot of conversations happening, and I'm not necessarily thinking that all of this discourse, even though it may seem very passionate and angry at times, I do think that this was needed, right? Like, we have to be able to have these kinds of conversations out in the open, amongst one another, and that's the only way that we can really be able to get anywhere, right? And I think that when you sit down and you talk to people, I don't think that we are all as far off as some people may feel like we are, or think that we are, or that the media may portray that we are. And I'm just very excited about this conversation that we're gonna have, and I want to bring up our first guest that I'm very excited to have be here. We got HMDS, Hold My Dual Shock, in the building. What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? Thank y'all for being here first and foremost. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just looking forward to this chat. Katie's on the other side editing, but just want to come in and hear what you had to say. These conversations have been so awesome.
Absolutely. Shouts out to all the dualies out there. Shouts out to Katie over there editing, and Peter holding it down, doing whatever he's doing from whatever basement that they got him locked in right now. So it shouts out to y'all. But thank you for being here, because as you were saying, as we've been having these conversations, I think that they've all been super dope, and I've really loved the perspective that you've been able to provide on a lot of things. And that's really why I wanted you here, because it's been super dope, and I would have hated to have this conversation and not have your input.
Thanks so much. We feel the same.
Right. Absolutely. So where I'm starting off at is, when I see all of this discourse happening amongst ourselves right now, some people may be a little bit frightened by it, shocked by it, saddened by it. I'm actually a bit hopeful. I think that a lot of these conversations we haven't been having them in earnest right? And now that people are more able to or more willing to come to the forefront to have these conversations, I think that it kind of changes the landscape, and it really gives everybody a better sense of exactly where one another is coming from and exactly what our problems may be, right? When you look at the discourse that's going on, how do you feel about that? And do you think that it's a good thing, bad thing, or neutral?
No, I agree. I think it's a very good thing. The way I kind of think about it is this is like the growing pains of a nation. Anytime there's like significant cultural change, there's gonna be pushback. And I think you're 100% right. This stuff hasn't been talked about. A lot of these topics probably should have been given more focus. And I think politically things have been glossed over. I think a lot of things have been covered up with maybe this idea of like the statesman, where we haven't had conversations because it's been so easy to appease so many people in the electorate. If a guy wears a nice suit and he falls into that kind of I'd like to have a beer with him category, that was enough to keep people off their politicians' backs for like 4 years at a time. And I think that people are not only unhappy but vocalizing it in with like these new formed coalitions that never used to exist. There are crazy amounts of people from vastly different walks of life that are all coming together and saying, hey, I'm not happy with the direction the country's going. And I think that can only be viewed as a positive thing.
Absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Another part of this conversation that I was really excited to really have was the perspective of the homie Apex Leon, who is in the building now. What's going on, bro? How are you feeling? And what's on your mind, bro?
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. I'm excited to have these conversations, continue having these conversations because they are absolutely necessary. Shout out to the chat and the rest of the Syndicate Network. Much appreciated.
Much love, bro. Glad to have you here. And were you able to hear any of the intro conversation? Us kind of speaking about the discourse that's going on and whether or not it's positive and negative or neutral.
I heard a large part of, I think, what Andy was saying. And shout out to you, Andy, for being here. Shout out to the Doolies. I would say the thoughts that popped in my head after hearing what Andy was discussing is, simply put, this seems to be more so a battle against character as opposed to a battle against policy. It's the mainstream media, the politicians, they've constructed these characters where, like Andy was alluding to, these men and women in suits who are just your neighborly neighbors, as opposed to actually diving into possibly what they really want to do with the country and what they want to do with policies and politics.
Yeah, I think that has worked for quite some time, man. And as I've been reflecting, you know, everybody kind of feels like, from what I can gather, they don't trust politicians and they don't trust the mainstream media. But yet you look around and you hear and see all of the things that come from the mainstream media being parroted by these same people, right? And I think the only way that you can get that off is if you do have these kind of caricatures of um or these avatars almost that people don't really put much stake in, but yet they're able to still affect change in whatever way that they see fit, you know, all while being under the guise of, that neighborly person, but yet people still don't trust him. I don't know. It's just a weird kind of dynamic. What do you guys think about that?
Well, just briefly, I use neighborly obviously sarcastically. What I really mean
Absolutely.
is like it's just some. It's essentially like a character in the most basic sense of the word. It's I've had conversations with you in the past about this where, for example, you take a Donald Trump and they've essentially made him the most unsexy candidate probably in like I don't know how long, I don't want to say ever, but it's it's an odd thing to really look at it like that. Like, oh, what does that even mean? And what does that matter? Well, you take like, for example, on Obama, the powers that be, the media machine itself, made the man incredibly likable. Not to say that he isn't, and not to say that he wasn't. I'm just saying that when you can tear down a person to such trivial things like their hands, their hair, their orange, you make them seem about as unsexy and uncool as possible. Well, you drain their character of any aura, as the kids say, aura, right? And then you have the opposite.
Definitely got negative aura, right?
Right. And then you have the opposite, which is let's say Kamala Harris, who is, they're trying to build her character up to be this likable, every woman sort of character where she listens to the same music as you. She eats where you eat, you know? Hell, recently she even said she'd do something if someone broke into her home. You know what I mean? Like, so there's all these little character building moments and then character destroying. And I'm not trying to pile on one side in favor of the other. I'm just pointing out like perspectives. The media machine has definitely made that particular example, DT, Donald Trump, made him very auraless and unsexy. So it's, again, in this part of the conversation, definitely highlight the destruction of character and creation of character versus, hey, don't look at the policies. Don't pay attention to that.
Yeah. And what about you, Andy? Where do you kind of come down on that?
Yeah, I think I agree with Leon. I think it's like about character. I think that there's this desire to late night talk show the issues that matter and try and turn it into this. I mean, in the most basic sense of like a rally. And then it's hard when you see the entire media coming and glamorizing somebody who you would never know whether or not they have substance because they're not saying anything. And it honestly makes me wonder how long that's been the case. And is it just now that people are waking up to it? And if that's the outcome of what's going on, I think that is actually a very good thing. If people start realizing like, hey, you can't let the media think for you. You need to be plugged into what's going on because, I mean, like you talked about, listens to the same music that you listen to. I mean, did you not feel better when you saw Megan Thee Stallion at that? Did that not make you feel like we're in good hands? And the
I
circus
definitely
show
felt
of that.
safer watching her twerk. I definitely felt safer.
And I think it's condescending. Can you imagine that that's the bread and circus? Having them say in lieu of talking policy. And I remember in our last conversation, you talked about, as someone who was like a long-term like Democratic Party member, this shift after 2016 where it's like, oh, so there's just a whole slew of things that are not on the table that we're not going to talk about, that will not be talked about. And if you try and push them through just sheer, populism, we're going to say no, we're going to overstep that, and we're going to villainize populism. And I think the entire of America is waking up to that.
Yeah. I've kind of said this multiple times, and I've always asked people, there's so many examples of like us getting involved in foreign governments and all these things, taking out certain leaders, installing our own, interfering with elections, just all this stuff. And people think it's so beyond the pale for them to do that here. And it just always has been strange to me how it's like we can almost have this cognitive dissonance where we see the type of influence that we have worldwide in terms of, you know, these other countries' governments and stuff like that. But then it's crazy and you're a conspiracy theorist to think that they might be doing something like that here.
Not only a conspiracy theorist, unpatriotic, and somehow they've gotten away with creating. I mean, when I think about, you know, America, it's viewed as this kind of renegade nation that push back against authoritarianism. That's kind of y'all's MO. And yet you have people saying if you don't blindly follow your government, that you're unpatriotic. And I'm like, that's like the complete opposite of what I thought this place was supposed to stand for. It's like you will question nothing. You will follow the protocol.
Right.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
They've turned it. They've made terms like patriotism into equal as racism. You know, whereas simple words like patriotism, they used to mean what they obviously mean. They still mean that as far as Oxford Dictionary goes and the language of society globally, but they've turned it into basically if you're a patriot, you're damn near a terrorist because you love your country. It's odd.
That's especially odd, the word patriotism, because in one set of, like, if you read, and it comes from the same media talk pieces, but patriotism will be this evil that, you know, portrays you as essentially a nationalist xenophobe. But then when you question your government, the exact same people will say it's unpatriotic and then try and rally around this idea of being a good American. It truly is a world where words have no meaning.
Yeah. It's just, as I was thinking about putting this conversation together, one of the main driving forces was me recognizing just how different, you know, America is versus a lot of other places in this world. I would argue that we're very unique in terms of us having free speech and that really being constitutionally protected with the right to also bear arms. Those two things put together make it to where it's like you can't really try to just overall wait. Hold on. I saw something in the back. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I just put it in the the overlays there.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
You want me to show
explain
it?
it whenever you can.
Okay, all right, cool. Where was that? Yeah, like with us having freedom of speech through our constitution with the right to bear arms, right? That kind of makes it to where you can't just enforce anything unless we give up some of these rights, right? And I think that when you look at us versus a lot of other places where you can get just locked up for saying something that the government deems offensive or whatever, right? Like, I know that we get a lot of people in here from other countries, and I get it, you know, but at the same time, we can't sit here and act like we don't see. I mean, I got people in the UK getting locked up for posting stuff on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? That they've deemed. Wait, hold on. Matter of fact, is that video in here? Wait, no, I will load it up in 1 second. But yeah, I mean, from all over, people just being locked up for saying stuff, and that doesn't happen here. I know that we like to act like we live in a authoritarianism like type of state, you know what I'm saying, where you just getting locked up for saying whatever.
That happened
But
during C-19 over in somewhere like Australia. They were literally getting snatched out of their homes because if they were being thought of having too many people, too many occupants, or if they had a party going on, they were literally getting snatched out of their homes and jailed, or put inside of these makeshift homes that were assigned to you, and they had like a border around it. So it was really weird totalitarian behavior going on during that time period. Whereas here, you know, we were thankfully able to keep our freedoms and still be able to complain about our alleged totalitarianism that was going on, you know.
yeah, man, and I think that, you know, and it's funny that you bring up Australia. They just tried to actually ban Candace Owens' visa because they didn't like something that she said. Right? She was supposed to speak over there, and that actually just happened recently. So, yeah, that type of stuff typically does not happen here. So, there are still things that separate us from a lot of the rest of the world, right? Even the civilized world, because everybody be like, "Oh yeah, you know." I mean, the third world countries wonder, but what about the rest of the West? I mean, they still be locking people up too. So, I'm not really seeing much of a, you know, a much of a reason for me to not be happy that I live in the US as compared to everywhere else. If we are talking about stuff just like free speech wise, right? Andy, what do you think about that? And you want to let the people know where you're from, in case.
Yeah. I'm from South Africa.
They didn't know. Yeah.
In case anybody didn't know.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
So Andy's African, and you know, proof, right, that just because Kamala Harris' dad is from Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? No,
yeah, I'm
Go
from
ahead.
Africa,
Go ahead.
and I'm simultaneously not black. Like, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, you're literally more African than the two of us right now.
Right?
You're born
Real
in Africa.
talk.
You're born from Africa.
You know,
so
that's why I
there you
come
have
on
it.
this channel to try and, you know, represent, you know, bring some credibility to this place. You know, like you guys front and pretending like, you know, down with it, you know, and it's like I gotta come
From the
and add some
motherland.
legitimacy.
From the motherland.
Andy said, "I'm from the motherland."
But let me tell you
Right.
about the lands of milks and honeys.
Right.
But now,
No, but go ahead, bro. Yeah.
no, it's you know, in South Africa, you know, in law school, we did a lot of research on America because our constitution's built off of y'all's because of there being so much good in it. It's a revolutionary document that, you know, gets thrown around a lot by constitutionalists here, but I think a lot of people don't realize how truly unique the concept of inalienable rights are. And the Bill of Rights, and then what we did slightly differently is in our constitution we have things like language rights, which are these encompassing things that like it just kind of is an all-encompassing way of, you know, putting into legal terms what you guys, I guess, kind of refer to as culture. But in our country, you know, it's an open thing that for many years the ANC was trying to get enough votes, you know, and again, our entire system is different, you know, but enough seats that they could, you know, essentially amend the Constitution and, you know, attack these ideas of free speech and stuff, and the language rights, which along with it came property rights. And so even countries that have modeled their ideals off of America don't have the protection. And I think it was like Chappelle said, was it like without the First Amendment doesn't work? And I think that's kind of what you were talking about,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how people can cognitively separate these things, because who do they believe would take away the First Amendment? And then what is the Second Amendment for? You know, when everybody's on the up and up. It's all copacetic, but it's just that block. The difference with just the way of life here in America is something that the rest of the world does look at. And I think that it's easy to get down on what's going on here, but just know so much of the world has it so much worse. But that shouldn't make people complacent, because countries can fall quickly. I think if anything, it should make people more view what's going on in this country as being more precious, because so much of the world, you can't have conversations anymore. And it always starts with like these good intentions of, oh, well, some speech is just dangerous. It makes people feel so bad. We can't have people say it. But the second you let somebody else make that decision, it's all negotiable. And freedom of speech really does have to be a non-negotiable. Did y'all, by the way, hear what RFK Jr. said today about free speech?
No.
He was commenting on this stuff about the big tech censorship, and talking about the comments Kamala Harris made about wanting to censor because of how big they are. And he was essentially saying, I think that disqualifies you. If you're not a free speech, if you're not a First Amendment absolutist, it disqualifies you from running for president. What is y'all's thoughts on that?
I think that is incredibly bold, noble, and makes total sense. Yeah, 100%. What about you, Scott?
I'm actually about to try to pull the video. Y'all go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so it's fascinating, because a lot of this is society being worn down to their feelings and about how they feel about what they're being told. Society is being trained to feel as opposed to think. And I know that sounds very simple, but it's like Andy was saying and what he was alluding to, which is we're not actually going through the things that they want you to feel like you're going through. Like, thank God no one's running up in our homes because we're having the stream right now, where there are countries where they'll find out your IP, they'll find out your regular address, and then they'll come knock on your door, kick it in, and drag you out. There are places literally like this as we speak. And we're able to complain, we're able to praise, we're able to have ideas of our own without someone puppeteering us, and then wake up the next day just fine. And the American public has been led to feel as though that's not the case, while at the same time holding an iPhone 12 or whatever, 16 in their hand, posting and tweeting about things about either side. And I think that notion is completely lost, and we need to get back to remembering the reality that we live in, which is that we are America the free, and we need to be,
America, fuck yeah.
We need to feel like that's special, and we need to, like Andy said, that's precious. And yeah, fuck yeah.
Hold on. I think this is the video that Andy was talking about. I'm not sure, but let's check this out.
I don't feel at home with people who believe in censorship. I think it's disqualifying. It's antithetical and inconsistent with democracy. And we had Hillary Clinton yesterday making this extraordinary statement that endorsing this censorship of speech in our country. We have Kamala Harris saying that free speech is a privilege. It's not a right. And Tim Walz saying the same thing. And I think that is disqualifying for anybody who wants to be president of the United States to believe in censorship.
Man, there you have it. Straight from RFK's mouth. And also, let me share this video. I believe this is I don't know. Judging by what he's wearing, it's from somewhere over in the UK. I'm gonna assume, but I want to play this video for you guys real quick.
Went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
Wow.
Imagine that.
So
Right?
he's got jail time for saying something.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, no.
Crazy. Right? So, yeah, I think that when you have stuff like that going on around the rest of the world, right, it really kind of puts it into perspective with people trying to say, oh my God, that certain people might be dictators, and when they already came and left from office, right? Look, America has been a beat, and stop me if I'm wrong, Andy, because I've spent a little bit of time outside of this country, but obviously not as much as you have, right? But America seems to be like that shining beacon for the rest of the world, to try to strive towards, and everybody typically, like, even if they don't agree with our government and stuff like that, right, which we have problems with our government too, me included, have had big problems, right? But at the same time, if you look at what we've stood for in terms of being the kind of the landmark state for free speech and for people kind of having that rebel attitude and stuff like that, we're the ones that fought back and won and escaped from under like some cruel tyranny, you know what I'm saying, and like really was able to hold it down this whole time, right? Like, I mean, there are other places that obviously have democracies. I'm not about to sit here and say that, but a lot of the other superpowers, right? Like, I mean, the UK got kings and queens, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't voting over there, right? Like, it ain't like you can't vote on your leader like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting where a lot of this angst and stuff is coming from. It feels almost as if like people here have internalized the ills and stuff that has happened around the world as if it's happened to us.
Yeah, like overseas and whatnot, you have, obviously the monarchy, and a lot of countries have monarchies that are largely, I mean, they're just symbolic. They don't really have any power anymore. It's like this heritage thing. They're almost like cultural attaches, if you will. But it reminds me of, do you remember there was that show years ago with Jeff Daniels where he's like talking about America, and he's like talking to some like vapid valley girl about why America's the best country in the world. It was like very popular with libertarians and classical liberals about America not being the greatest. He starts rattling off like other countries that have things like free speech and whatnot. I wonder how that has aged when you see so many countries where free speech is, that we would have said are countries where there's freedom of speech, that you're actually getting arrested for speech. I also think that it's interesting that on one hand, to have like a healthy nation, you have to constantly be questioning your government. But so much of the talking point is it somehow speaks ill of your country to have demands of it. And so it's a very tricky place where if you want to hold your country to a standard, you're kind of viewed as being ungrateful. But You're absolutely right. Like the rest of the world has an enormous amount of problems. You talk about the democracies and stuff in parliamentary systems. Even if you have a candidate win the largest, a plurality of votes, doesn't mean that that party will actually take control, as you're seeing in some of the European countries where they're having these coalition governments. Essentially, it would be like if the Green Party and the Democrats teamed up to edge the percentage and keep one of their people in power. And I think that as much as you hear this rhetoric of like, America's democracy is dead, it's like, you're still having an election where you have to assume that regardless of which candidate wins, that's going to be the leader of the country, correct?
Absolutely.
I agree.
But that's not the case necessarily overseas, where there's other stipulations where it may not matter. I want to touch on, by the way, people talk about governance. Overseas in South Africa, we have this process where basically, if you're part of a party, you're not allowed to vote independent other than like what the party line is. So when you have somebody like, you think you're voting for your local representative, but you're not. You're voting on one of two directions for the country. And so imagine an America where you have like some of these Republicans and some of these Democratic congressmen and senators who aren't actually legally able to vote except along party lines. How hollow the idea of democracy feels at that point. Whereas at least there is that chaos here,
Absolutely. And I would argue that the push to make everybody feel like their vote does not matter only makes you realize that your vote, in fact, does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's two things with that vote. It's the fear of voting and your vote doesn't matter. Yeah, there's two things going on with that, for sure.
Let me play this clip that he was talking about, the Jeff Daniels clip, real quick.
There is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
Yo, I think you're absolutely right. When that clip started like going viral, even like years back, that did have a huge impact. Everybody was like, "Oh, Jeff Daniels was cooking."
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, half of what he's saying is absolutely right. You should be questioning your government, and you should want your country to live up to its highest standards. But he's also talking about foreign intervention, the military-industrial complex, and things that I think, on both sides would not jive with what people feel. When he says we act like men, boom, canceled.
Yo,
I was just thinking that too. He said that like 2 or 3 times.
Same shit.
Great men and
men who were revered.
I was like, he said men a lot. That's like the F word now.
Yeah, Jeff, they're tearing down the statues of those guys, my guy.
Right?
Yeah.
That one of those lines he said, he basically was saying, when you vote, it's not like a religious act, like it's your identity or something like that. And I'm just like, everything he said can apply to today. Whenever that came out, I don't know what the hell. Like that didn't apply to anything really going on back then. And I
Yeah.
know I'm exaggerating a bit, but
Yeah, but
I'm
that
like,
line
oh,
is powerful. Like that's
yeah,
what people do. It's like, man, I voted for so and so. That's who
yep,
I am.
yep,
And what he says about we didn't scare so easily. People are legitimately afraid to have conversations, and I fear that it's because
mm-hmm.
they're afraid that their frail identity, which is so tied to the political views that they have teamed up to have, might be shaken, and they won't know what to do with themselves if they have to think for themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I do not think that the American dream is dead. I think that it still lives on, and it because one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation as well is just because there's been more people that I know, like in real life, that have been watching these streams that we've been doing, especially kind of talking about these topics, and a lot of the conversations that we've been having have been mind opening, and it really just let me know that people aren't as far off from one another as we think that we are. We're really not. I just think that there's a lot of people that aren't aware of what's going on. And when you make them aware of what's going on, typically we all are on the same page. Which is why I think that they're fighting so hard to make sure that everybody doesn't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm gonna show this picture that Leon wanted to share, and I'll let him kind of touch on that. Here you go, Brody. I'm gonna let you go ahead and cook.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college or university, as the overseas homies like to say, my professor showed me this. He showed the whole class this, and very simple picture, and it's like old school. It's like, it's the perspective that the media wants you to see, the reality that exists in the background, and the perception that they want you to latch onto in the foreground. It's a guy running away from a guy with a knife, but it makes it seem like the guy who's running away is attacking the guy who essentially has the knife. So, Sky, you just said the American dream isn't dead. I truly believe you on that, and I 100% back you up on that for sure. The problem is the people looking at the TV, because that's what's being sold to you, the dream that you're stuck in, or nightmare, when you turn the TV on and you have your nose stuck in a phone looking at social media all day and not connecting and having conversations with your neighbor, because that's the dream being manipulated right there. If everybody turned their TVs off and kind of more or less filtered through their phone a bit more cautiously, and then turn your TV back on and maybe filter through that more cautiously, I think we'd essentially see the American dream alive and well still, because again, it's being sold to you differently. They're giving you the nightmare. They're not giving you the dream.
Andy, I like to hear your perspective on this picture as well. You have anything to add?
Yeah, I was actually looking up. I'm pretty sure there was a case recently overseas where somebody was pulling like a knife attacker off of somebody else, and the person who hit the guy who was attacking the pedestrian with the knife was arrested. And it was almost like that in real life.
Wow.
That's
Would not be
something
surprised.
that's something I think though is very, very telling, is the editorialization of the news. I don't know if you ever took like a journalism class, and they always talk about, being impartial, and it just doesn't exist in the news. There's no difference between like a pundit and an actual reporter. There's no journalist. Everybody's just a talking head.
I was about to say an entertainment talking kid. Yeah.
And sadly, the term talking head, I don't think has the venom that it should, because these people, I mean, that's probably it's probably the nicer term, because realistically, they're propagandists, and it's very strange that people are so okay with being told what to think. Again, I find it to be very belittling, and it so rarely follows logic. And most people, I think, laugh it off, but I don't think they realize just how serious it is when you're being fed a narrative that doesn't make sense, that the people framing it know doesn't make sense. And in some ways, you know, and again, it's one of those terms that initially, because Trump said it, everybody lashed out when he said fake news. But then even the other news outlets attack each other, calling the other ones illegitimate and fake news. Because if you remember, there's a period where they're like, oh, you know, we need to remember that journalists are our friends and that, you know, we should never question journalists. Now they just all attack each other. But in somewhere in the jargon of it, of like, oh, it's just fake news, people should
Fake
probably
news.
be fake news. They should be more outraged, though. When the people on TV will tell you things that you know are not true, that you know they know are not true. And then a year later, they come out and admit they knew were not true. And yet those people still have jobs. I think that's fascinating.
Definitely.
That just happened with, real quick, Leon, that just happened with the Colorado situation with the apartment buildings being taken over. They were swearing up and down that it wasn't happening. And then the fucking police guy had to come, or no, the vice mayor, I think, he came out and was like, hey, actually, they have been taking over buildings. You know?
Yeah, it's the media selling you what the American dream is, or the American nightmare, right? So shout out to Cody Rhodes. But no, on a serious tip, like another example of manipulation by the media and the dream or nightmare that they're trying to sell is recently from the Young Turks, Cenk. I don't know, you guys know Cenk.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
he got into a bit of a back and forth with his co-host, Anna Kasparian, I think her name is.
She gonna be leaving TYT pretty soon. Fact.
Yeah, and she could easily thrive. She's intelligent. She is, helps that she's good looking. Like, she could easily thrive. I don't know why she's still there.
Channel. It's crazy. Back in 2015, 2016, y'all.
Do you remember
funny.
I was deep in on TYT, bro.
It's funny, bro, because like this picture around this time frame that my professor showed this picture off and gave his thoughts on it, and was basically trying to tell the class, and we were nowhere near politically charged when this picture was out, or when I got introduced to this picture, I should say. It was like, what, 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't know, between 2012 and 2015, I don't know. But no, yeah, 2012, 2013. It was nowhere near incredibly as politically charged as it is now in this way that it is. But he was basically giving us a lot of tools to be able to discern what is now known as fake news and what is not. But anyway, so Cenk and old girl got into it, and essentially she got upset because there was this older gentleman who was asked about what he wants in the next election and what he wants the next president to do, and he discussed borders and border control, etc. And then Cenk translated it to racism, racist this and racist. He went on this long spiel about racism and phobia this and ism that, and I was just like, what? And she was looking at him like he was crazy, and she was like, well, that's not what he said, you're putting words in his mouth. And he was like, what? No, that's totally what that means. And he's just going off. And then she was like, well, no. And so here you have a guy, he's taking a simple answer, like, I want them to secure the borders, and he's taking it and turning it into like every hatred talking point that you can name today. I BS you not. I don't know if Sky wants to find that clip or not, or I don't know, whatever. You guys do it on your own, but everybody's talking about it. It's crazy. I was like, well, he's turning this into everything? And Anna was just like, no, I'm not with it. So I just thought it was fascinating.
That's so true. And that's why that ideology eats its own. It's so funny.
Absolutely.
So many people I know
started out, big time.
Yeah. And so many people I know started out as baseline like Democrats or just centrist, and the window gets shifted to the point where whatever the next DLC is, whatever the next purity test is, if you fail it, and you're just lumped in as an alt-right, terrorist. And even that Jeff Daniels clip, if you looked into that, a decade ago, you would not say that anything he's saying is necessarily along party lines. In fact, his whole point was he had voted for both, parties throughout his life. If you play that today, immediately the assumption is that he would be a right-wing person, correct?
Definitely.
And the sentiment hasn't changed. It's just, it shows how much
You used the word
culture.
men too many times, Andy.
I BS you not. I was getting ready to say a joke just like that. Like the amount of times he said men would get him just erased off of Earth.
Yeah, but the Young
You
Turks,
said men were men who were revered.
Yeah, great men. Like,
cis men.
There were great
Cis
men.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, these cis men who built the country. What's crazy is the
The
Young
oppressor.
Turks is completely demonstrated that they're absolutely just bought and sold. By the way,
Oh, yeah.
a huge amount of controversy. Anybody who comes to their senses and starts noticing patterns that, or inconsistencies with their narrative is immediately ostracized. Jimmy Dore was on the Young Turks. I remember watching the election night, and he was sitting there talking about how
I didn't
Hillary
know
Clinton's a
that.
terrible. Oh my gosh, yeah, had a
I
huge
stopped
falling
watching
out.
them so long ago. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
And his whole thing was that they're sold. They've sold out. They're absolutely. They're supposed to be populist, by the way. They were big on
Yeah.
the squad and stuff, and yet they were the ones saying we need to rally around Hillary Clinton after the Bernie stuff happened. And but then they were saying, oh, it's bullshit because what's it called? That she was always a flawed candidate. And then now Anna Kasparian's getting into it. By the way, he's Hassan Piker's uncle.
Yes.
And that whole
I-
manufacture thing, that
Yeah.
organic thing.
I actually found that out recently.
Mhm.
Was I watching? I was watching something, and I was like, well, there you have it. It makes sense. And it's funny because, the left doesn't really have a lot of, they don't really have a lot of people on their side that tend to have some aura. And it's funny because, he has some. I see how he captures audiences and women in the soy boy crowd, I think it's interesting. I'm just like, don't get too many more of those guys, man, because it'll be a wrap if you have too many pikers. I think he's a dweeb, but like I can see how he captures an audience, and he trips all over himself too. Because at one point he sounded like a straight up what you would call a typical right winger for a few years. No,
Schenk,
his
oh,
nephew.
Piker. Yeah. Schenk got in trouble because for all of his claims of being anti-capitalist, he got in trouble with his business and they weren't making money, and he took the hardline capitalist stance of, well, we have to make money to stay around. And again, because his rhetoric is based on nonsense, no sense, as my teachers used to say, their audience was like, well, you can't have that opinion. He's like, how do you think this works if we don't make money?
Right.
By the way, the most uncomfortable place to be is between Cenk Uygur and a Beast of Burden. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's what Scott needs to go find. Him talking about pleasuring Beast of Burdens. I think it was a horse talking about bestiality.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Your guy's an animal lover, the type of animal love that gets you banned from
Arrested.
the state fair. Yeah.
Yeah, Cenk is a freaking weirdo. And like he's incredibly passionate about nonsensical rhetoric. It's insane. Like that, whatever he finds that video. I hope I'm not overselling it, but
I couldn't find the one that you were talking about, but I know what you're talking about though, because I've seen it. I haven't been able to kind of download it and get to it, but I had to come back because I heard something about horses, and I'm like, what's going on in here?
By the way, there's the other rumors of the horse thing that's in politics right now. It's like, once is weird, twice is a pattern.
All right.
If you know what I'm talking about.
No clue. Put it in the back chat.
I'll put it
So,
in the back
yo,
chat. Yeah.
But I want to move on to this next part of the conversation because I think that this is not something that I want to spend a lot of time on, but it definitely needs to be talked about, and that is the question: does race matter? And I mean this in the vein of people questioning Kamala Harris's heritage, right? I bring this up because in most cases, right, I am totally in the yo, we shouldn't have to talk about these things. It shouldn't need to be discussed. It's not something that I'm particularly interested in talking about, right? But with that being said, and I can't speak for Leon, I can only speak for myself. As a black male, I feel like I have been just kind of like just had these type of conversations just kind of rushing over me, where it's like if I do not vote a certain way, then it is me somehow self-hating my race, or me not supporting black women, and or just all types of stuff like that. And so that's why I think it's important to kind of have this quick little part of the conversation, because I want to get everybody's take on this, and then I'm going to play some videos real quick, and then we can kind of move on. But Leon, let me ask. Oh my God, bro. Anyway, that wouldn't surprise me. Leon, let me start with you, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Effing
back
yikes.
comment just fucked me up. Anyway, Leon,
Yeah.
yo, what's up with you? Like, how do you feel about this? Does race matter to you usually, and how do you feel about race in terms of this election and how it's being discussed?
I think it's the same old tricks that they pull all the time by trying to bait us into our vote by not telling us any sort of real policies or anything of real substance. Just me personally, being a foundational Black American,
The Prince of Pan Africanism.
FBA stand up,
I'm about to turn into
Um,
Dr. Umar Johnson up here, bro.
you know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second, real quick.
I'm about to turn into Dr.
Okay, I'm back.
Umar up here, bro.
But yeah, shout out to the homie Tariq Nasheed. Microphone check. But yeah, I don't like being pandered to, and I don't like being like having a weirdo race carrot dangled above my head. I don't like being looked down upon, because essentially that's what it is. They're looking at us like we're children,
Ooh,
like
I'm
the
so glad you said that.
metaphorical mommy and daddy sort of issues, where they want you to kind of, hey, you're black, so you should do this, and you're black, you should do that. It's that weirdo code crap. They're trying to use our code against us. And I don't care about that. I'm all about a person's, not even necessarily their character per se. I'm about their actions, because I think your actions show me what your character is, because your character in these days can be looked at as how you make someone feel based on what you said, as opposed to what you've done. You know what I mean? So I don't want it to be misconstrued, like, because the rhetoric is like, oh, I don't like so and so, they make me feel, so I don't know. And I'm like, I don't care about how unlikable a person is. What have they done? There was something else I was gonna say. Oh, also, what exactly are these people have they done directly for foundational Black Americans? What have they done? Like,
well, I already played the video of her saying, "Don't ask for nothing."
facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I
So
already played that video.
It's like they're doing things for other people that don't look like me and aren't foundational Black Americans. You know, they're giving out checks. They are promising certain things. And like we talked about before, I think we talked about this before, if I'm not mistaken. We discussed reparations briefly as being an example of something that has been brushed over. And it's like, I'm not saying we should get reparations. I'm not saying we should not either. But what I'm saying is that conversation has to stand. It has to exist. Because if you're handing facts, if you're handing out checks to everybody else that ain't Black, but you've been telling us there's no money to do anything for reparations, then you're BSing. So like that's one of the biggest conversations that could be for Black people that has been stomped out, or seemingly they're trying to stomp it out. And I say again, shout out to Tariq Nasheed. Look that brother up.
Yeah. What's funny is that I was just watching this video earlier today, or was it yesterday, of this family from Venezuela who had just been over here for 2 years, and they already like bought a house and stuff like that using like this program for first time home buyers and stuff, and just all these things, man. And I'm like, yo, we got homeless veterans over here. We got people that's been homeless, need
crazy, right?
Assistance, all that. And you just got people coming from all over the world, and they're able to just get a house. And it was like, oh, is this the first time that they've slept in anything larger than one room, pretty much? And I'm like, yo, you know, and I don't blame the people for coming over here and taking advantage.
No, not at all.
Right? I blame the people that are allowing this to happen, right? But real quick, because Leon brought up a great point about being pandered to and kind of talked down to when some of these conversations are happening, right? And I have 2 videos tonight that are going to be kind of long, but bear with me. This is the first one. This is I believe I can't remember his name because I was supposed to play that last stream, but this is one of the ones that got left over. But he's talking about the voter ID laws, right? And how they've kind of used Black people as like this kind of object at a point to, and say, hey, these voter ID laws are racist because Black people can't get IDs, right? Which I think is fucking insane. Pardon my French, but
makes us sound like children.
Yeah, right. But I want you guys kind of watch this video because I think that this gentleman summed it up perfectly. So check this out.
The fundamental question that we must answer today is America worth preserving? I, of course, think it is. I think this is the greatest country in the world. I love this country. I'm a veteran, served in combat, and I'm a United States congressman. I think this is by far the greatest country in the world. But if the United States is a country worth preserving, then I think we must protect the integrity of our elections and do everything in our power to do just that. I am shocked that the SAVE Act, which has already passed the House in a bipartisan fashion, is even controversial to many Democrats. I mean, they are the ones that constantly are shouting about preserving democracy. And safeguarding our elections is the bedrock of our democracy, is something that both sides should easily support and agree upon. They say that non-citizens voting in an election is not a real issue, or if some non-citizens are registered to vote, it's not a significant amount to make a difference. Well, in my home state of Texas, we just removed thousands of non-citizens from voter rolls. And in some of these recently hotly contested elections, that amount could even be enough to swing an entire election, especially this year. Undermining the integrity of elections is not an oversight, it's a threat to democracy. And for all of those, this is about democracy. For all of us, this should be about democracy. I think it's time that we, as a body, acknowledge that threat. Now, Democrats on the left aren't just focused on replacing American voters, they are focused on replacing American jobs as well. Under the Biden-Harris administration, jobs in foreign-born workers are significantly increasing while jobs for native-born workers are declining. Critics say that these illegal immigrants are needed because they will do the jobs that Americans won't do. And what they fail to say is that Americans won't do the jobs when Bidenflation is outpacing their wages. And fixing the illegal immigration problem will help American workers. I fixed a problem for you. The immigration problem is not a minimum wage issue. It hasn't always been the case, but in recent years, the left has decided to slowly erode everything that we'd hold dear as a country. They want to erode our culture, our history, our patriotism, and lastly, our vote. Do you remember during the George Floyd riots when the left wanted to reimagine policing? Now, the left wants to reimagine voting so that everyone, regardless of their citizenship, can choose our next president. That's not the American way. The left wants to reimagine everything that makes America special. They even want to reimagine our Constitution. One example is a recent New York Times article, and the title speaks to itself. The Constitution is sacred. It is also dangerous. One of the biggest threats to American politics might be the country's founding documents, said the author. Now, I'm sitting here right now, and I got to tell y'all, I'm black, and I'm a veteran. I have 6 forms of government ID. 6. I've been black for my whole life. I've been a veteran since 2000 when I was at West Point. The insinuation that black and brown people cannot get an ID to vote like every other citizen, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed, is insulting. I actually refer to this as the soft bigotry of low expectations. We, as all Americans, should want free and fair elections. We aren't making it more difficult for people to get an ID to vote. I have an 18-month-old little boy. Do you know the first thing that he got when he was born that I had to sign for? A birth certificate. So the idea of this costing thousands of dollars and it's all of a sudden onerous and burdensome on Hispanic people and black people like me is absurd. I have a very large family. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters. Every last black person that I know in my life, which is quite a few, every last one of them has a government ID. It would be insulting to talk to my family and say to them, you know what, sorry, y'all, you're black and it's just, so hard for you to get an ID like all the white people. That's absurd. And we as a country have got to reject this farce. I speak so strongly against this because I view myself as an American first. I am a veteran. I am a husband. I am a congressman. I'm someone that served this country. I'm an educated black man. And somewhere down the line, I am black and I am proud, and I understand that. But what I never want to do is marginalize a single group in this country by saying that you weren't good enough to get an ID, because my 18-month-old has an ID. We as a country have got to clean up our rules to ensure that we have free and fair elections regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed. And that's why I reject the assertion that we, no matter what color you are, cannot reach that very low bar of having a government ID to figure out how to vote for the leadership and the future of this country. And with that, I yield back.
Woo! Hey.
Yo,
who's that clapping?
Me. This is why in your entertainment you can't name 5 black leaders in a position on any form of entertainment. They don't want us out here looking strong on your TV screen and in your movies. They don't, because we are a part of the quote unquote weaker part of society that needs to be pampered and babied. That's a part of the programming too. Keep us looking like we don't know what the fuck we're doing until it's necessary to push an agenda. And it only lasts about 5 minutes, and then we go back to being the coddled, babied group of society. That brother was cooking. Shout out to him.
Hey, you got an ID, Leon? Just for sake of the argument.
Several.
Yeah. Yo.
I wasn't even gonna make a joke about that one. Nah,
yo,
several.
Andy. Right, Andy. you was kind of cooking in the back, bro. What'd you think about that video and just overall about like where we're at in the conversation right
No,
now?
I think Leon's absolutely right. It's so funny because I didn't realize he was going to say like the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah, you said exactly what he said.
Just so that
did
y'all
Andy
know,
see this before?
Andy put that
I've never
shit
seen that.
in. Andy put the soft bigotry of lowering expectations in the back chat like 30, 45 seconds before he actually said it. And that shit was hilarious. But
it's a Tracy Jordan quote from 30 Rock, bro.
Yeah.
But no, it's so true.
That's dope.
What's really messed up about it is there are people who will look at that and think that he's grandstanding, and it's absolutely true. This whole compassion will lead to degeneracy. It always does. And you will have people who are not citizens voting in this country. It's being telegraphed. And the downplaying of it is ridiculous. And they're all too quick to say, oh, well, you know, we're doing it with this kind of white savior attitude of, oh, well, if we don't stand up for these poor Black people, you know, they won't be allowed to vote. I've never met a Black person without a driver's license. That's wild. That's a fucking crazy ass statement. And if that's the case,
shit might be suspended. You know what I'm saying? He might have that shit might be suspended. You dig? Might have some points on it. I don't know, but motherfucker got an ID, bro.
And even if you didn't, okay, so if that's the argument, then why don't we just have free state IDs in this country? Cool, roll out. Everybody gets a free state ID. Like, if it's that big of a problem, why are the people saying that not everybody has access? Be like, well, I mean, you should have an ID just for safety's sake. Like, what happens if you get in a car accident?
Everybody got IDs, bro. It's like,
but I'm saying, like,
nobody don't got no ID.
I don't know how more people just aren't like, you know, F you when they hear that, because it is so, it's beyond condescending. It's the treating of someone like Leon said, like they're a child, like they can't fend for themselves. And that's not how you raise people up. It's literally how you enable people to.
Well, that's the thing. They don't want us raised up. And it's about time people understand that. I don't think that they don't want us as a group, as a race, as whatever they view us as. They don't want us as anything other than a tool that can be used. I'm not even going to go as far as to say like it's a racist thing. Like, oh, it sounds weird to say that, but like it's just exclusively to us because it's racism. I think that we've just been a tool for so long that it's just interchangeable at this point. We're definitely the ultimate tool for them. And obviously there's racism there for sure. Duh. I'm saying the driving force, I don't think is about race. I think the driving force is about whatever tool can be used to control everyone. And Black people are the convenient tool because we have been trained and used for years and manipulated since obviously before civil rights, but during civil rights.
100%. But honestly,
You know
I feel like at this point, it's just like ingrained.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And what's good,
Well,
Katie?
what up?
I thought Andy.
A couple
that's
minutes.
Andy. He just needs to clear his throat.
Let me clear my throat.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, 100%. It's ingrained racism at this point. They don't. It's like it's not even a thought process. It's just their default.
Yep. Absolutely.
Which doesn't make it right, but
no, absolutely not. It's one of those things where it's essential to their game plan. Like, why would you want to? It's like if you're a basketball team and you know the team is weakest if you don't compliment them, right? If you do compliment them, I should say. If you're just like, oh, hey guys, how you been? Whatever, you treat them like they're docile and you're just chill. It's like what they used to say about Michael Jordan. Like, don't piss him off. You just the more you go, hey Mike, everything cool, blah blah blah. You keep him at 30 points as opposed to him dropping 40 on you. That's how they treat Black people in society. You know, feed us shit, talk docile to us, make it seem like we're little kids because we're literally the ultimate tool. Once you tell us that we can get IDs, we can drive, we can vote, we can become millionaires. If you feed us that, then the tool's gone, right? What huge body of people are you then going to manipulate? Because the Hispanic population already know this. The Asian population already know this. Obviously, the white population knows this. All within America, I'm speaking of, right? So, who's left that quote unquote doesn't know it in the mainstream entertainment side of things? Is Black people. That's the rhetoric they keep pushing out. Even though there's a whole lot of us, if not the majority of us, and I'm speaking towards the 9-to-5 tax-paying citizens. I ain't talking about the downtrodden. I ain't talking about and when I say this, this is just me speaking, right? I view everybody in that lens when I'm speaking in an overall sense. I'm not really talking to the degenerates of society, the trash, the layman. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the 9-to-5er tax-paying folk who are here trying to get it. Like I'm talking about Black, white, Asian, Native, all of that, right? When I think all of us know that we can all get it out here, but they keep trying to perpetuate to us in particular that there's a struggle still. It's very odd, but we know why it's like that.
Absolutely. In the grand scheme of things, I think that a lot of the things that we face is not a racial issue. I think it's a class issue. I think it's more the haves versus the have-nots than anything else. And then there's still racial components amongst that stuff. But I think that the general things that we are experiencing that I would say are the ills of these shadow people controlling stuff or whatever, I would say that's definitely it's class warfare before anything else, right? I just wanted to highlight this because before we move on with the conversation, I would like to reiterate that Kamala Harris is not Black, and I want y'all to hear what she had to say about it.
And to Indian Americans all across the United States, I want to wish you a happy Indian Independence Day. On August 15th, 1947, men and women all over India rejoiced in the declaration of the independence of the country of India. Today, on August 15th, 2020, I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of the United States of South Asian descent. So I hope you celebrate today, and then tomorrow, I hope you join me in getting to work.
Stop talking about that shit. I don't want to hear it no more. I don't want to hear it. Right?
There you go. Checkmate.
Hey, and real quick, too, I'm going to play this because I don't know if y'all been watching Candace Owens. Candace Owens has uncovered a bombshell, guy.
Believe all women and believe Black people until it's a Black woman from Candace Owens.
Right? Real quick, I want to show you guys this picture first, just because I don't think that she shows it in the video, but I'm gonna show you guys this picture, and this is from Kamala Harris's book, right? This picture says visiting my paternal grandmother Beryl in Jamaica. Right now, obviously, that seems to be a Black woman. I think we would all agree, right? But unfortunately, Candace Owens stumbled upon a bombshell and has proof that Beryl died in 1960, 4 years before Kamala Harris was born, guy. So who is this in the picture, right? Let's hear what Candace had to say about this. Check this out.
They're trying to pass them off like relatives. Again, not a fact, a huge question mark, but my instinct tells me that that person is actually not her family member. And if it is, Well, Kamala's got some explaining to do. How did she meet Grandma Beryl almost 20 years after Grandma Beryl died? Because Kamala Harris looks to be about 20 in that photo that she presented. Then there's another bit of a mystery, as I said. If Beryl married after her or before her wedding when she was 25 years old to the missing Newland, if anybody can find Newland, please let me know. But if Beryl married at some point Oscar Wilde Joseph Brown, where is their marriage certificate? And where is their divorce certificate? Again, I'm only prodding the narrative here because I'm going to need proof that she's Black. The media has now made this a thing, and now you made it so much of a thing that you're attacking people like Janet Jackson when she asks a very reasonable question that you should be able to respond to. And now we have a verifiable lie that Kamala Harris told in her book, or a big uh-oh, because, if I'm being nice, I guess sometimes you think when you're publishing a book that it's a photo of you and your grandmother that you never met or never could have met. Maybe Kamala was just confused and thought it was her grandma, but it was a grandmother that she had, again, never met. Media should be on this, and they should be asking her this question. How did you make this significant of a blunder in your book? And isn't it quite ironic that every photo that you have presented, two of which look like they're the exact same person, one aged on, which begs the question, is that even Kamala Harris in her lap? I don't know. Again, we're at the beginning of this investigation. But it's interesting that amongst all of the relatives, so many Irish white slavers, the only photos that she chose to put in this book are the ones that make it look as though she might be Black. And we have just significantly and without question debunked one of those photos.
Dude, that was literally what I was just talking to Andy about, because I was like, who was it that actually said she wasn't Black, and they told her that she had to make a public apology, and it was Janet Jackson.
Yes, it was Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson came out and said that she heard that Kamala Harris wasn't Black. Everybody tried to go after her, and then her manager came out and apologized on her behalf and came out like this long statement about how sorry that she was and how she understood how it was so wrong. And then Janet Jackson fired that man immediately afterwards and was like, no, he ain't speaking for me. You know what I mean? So, hey.
Damn, Janet Jackson fired, homie.
Bruh. And then I ended
Shout
up
out
looking
to Janet.
into it a little bit more. It turns out that Kamala Harris was low-key trying to go after Michael Jackson. And Trump stood up for him. Crazy, right? Hey,
that's
so
the way love goes.
I think that that's the way love goes. Hey, that's the way love goes. Anyway, yo, what's y'all thoughts on that though? That's crazy, right?
Man, it's only a few things that are certain in life, man. Taxes being one, and Candace Owens being on your neck. She don't play, yo. Shout out to her. I know that's like a ugly thing to say nowadays, right? Which is that's a subject in and of itself, that giving her praise or any sort of shout out is bad. But no, that's excellent detective work on her part. I'd just like to see somebody try to debunk her. Yeah, that's my thing. If she's lying, bring out the receipts. What you think, Kay?
Kamala Harris is not Black. I don't know why this is even becoming a thing.
I just want to say I'm very uncomfortable with Katie questioning Kamala's Blackness. Like, Kamala is a proud Nubian princess, and I don't know why I'm.
This is such a creepy, odd thing. I don't understand why she thinks it's going to gain her points. Did you guys see the news, the press release where one of the people were asking why Kamala changes her voice when she's in certain states?
Oh yeah.
And they wouldn't answer her.
I didn't see the press release, but I hate that quote unquote Black scent that she tries to put on every time she talks. She tries to start talking like this and
Yes.
start talking about fried chicken and
You better thank a union member. You better thank a union member. I was like,
I
bro,
like-
get out of here.
I like that Kamala. I find it to be festive and fun. That's my favorite Kamala. I don't like this stuffy Kamala. I like to know my Kamala gets down. You know, that's important to me.
she get down with the brown.
But no, they refused to answer the question. They're like, I'm not answering
So
that.
what did they ask her exactly?
They asked, yeah.
Peter Ducey was like, "Hey, why does her accent seem to change wherever she is?" And Jean Pierre was like, "I'm why you would even ask that?" He goes, "This thing is interesting." And then she tried to like big time be like, "Do you think that the American public thinks that interesting?" And I'm like, "I do.
I do,
That's
yeah."
why." And then he just straight up asked her, he goes, "I mean, does she talk like that in meetings around the White House?"
Listen, I'm gonna need my coffee black, okay, in the morning. And I
And she
need what's
tried to
that
pretend.
album that my mama
Bruh,
used to
she
always
said-
play?
Look,
Jackie Brown.
Nah, she said
It was
that her
something.
mom was always listening to Aretha. But
Yeah.
here is my thing. If not for anything else, when she said that she washed her greens in the bathtub, we should have known then. They don't black
Bro.
people wash their goddamn greens in the bathtub. What's wrong with you?
When you told me that, I was like, nah, she was just joking, right? That was a joke, right?
Yo, real quick, let me play this video and then yeah, because I want to bring this back.
Greens in the bathtub. The fuck?
Okay, so what we're gonna cook today
Okay.
is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are Indian.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, you know, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian,
Yes.
but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people
You
we're
do.
related already,
Yeah.
so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so, were you raised eating South Indian food?
South Indian food.
Bruh, and the other half of her family is Irish slavery.
Bro.
that's
covered here first.
That's real
That's
talk.
crazy.
That's
And she couldn't
real
wait to
talk.
say yes. She was like,
Bro, she
you're
was
Indian. And
confident.
yes. Indian. Yes.
Yeah.
Something.
I
Yes.
don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm thinking maybe that wasn't an organic exchange. It was almost like she knew she was going to ask if she's Indian.
Facts.
Oh yeah, right. But yeah, man. Look, I just had to kind of touch on that real quick. Is there anything else is that you guys want to bring up with the with this topic before we move on?
I think it's interesting that the party that tells you that the worst fate beholden to any human being is to be a person of color in America, and yet Kamala is desperately trying to be a person of color in America to win
That's
the White
crazy.
House.
Oh, I don't know if you guys even talked about it, but I think it's ridiculous that we're trying to paint, well, she's trying to paint herself as a Black person as if that's somehow supposed to gain her votes. And I've never understood like the alignment of Black people being like, I'll vote for her because she's Black. That is the most ignorant statement in the world.
You know
I don't
why?
hear Black people saying that, though. I think that's a completely manufactured narrative.
It's incredibly manufactured. But the thing is, because they know they got us with that whole, the guy who got in there before and everybody bought everything he said. So it's why they're willing to run this play again, because they saw that it worked the first time.
And he publicly backed her, I think a couple days ago or something like
He
that.
did.
Yep.
I did. He
Did
did.
somebody
I did.
just end up? Never mind.
But yeah, that was my 2 cents.
Shout out to Velma from Scooby Doo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
I
crazy.
forgot Mindy played Velma.
Right? Oh yeah.
So did HBO.
Leon, what about you? So did HBO. Leon, what about you, bro? Wait a minute. Didn't that get better ratings than the Snyder Cut, though? Crazy,
Bro,
right?
It got
Anyway,
canceled.
right? Anyway, I don't know how, and it did better numbers than the Snyder Cut, y'all. Right?
We know it did better than Peacemaker.
Woo, oh shit.
But
But go ahead, bro.
I
I
just
ain't supposed to be talking about that kind of stuff on this stream. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
There is only politics today. But no. Yeah, this is hilarious. I think I'm just glad we're having this conversation, bro, because I refuse to have an Indian white chick try to take over and usurp what I am, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. We can't do that to them. Fuck out of here, bro. You ain't us. Not like us.
I mean,
they not
we
like us.
still, we still haven't established y'all's Haitian status, though, so we don't know.
I'm gonna say this one last thing too about this topic before we move on, or whatever we're about to do next in regards. But I'm sick of this whole people of color thing too. Stop lumping us in with that. Because every time y'all do that, y'all come up with these policies that have people of color, and then it ends up being for a specific race,
bro.
and not us.
I just saw a news thing where they was talking about the Venezuelan migrants that had bought this house using these programs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they was like, yeah, it's going to be guaranteed that they're all going to be going to people of color. And I was like, bro, are we about to be bringing migrants over here and just giving them homes?
Right.
And y'all about to use that as people of color? Remember when that used to mean black people, y'all? That's crazy, right?
And they quickly threw in everybody non-black and non-white. So here's the crazy part. So there's this new law, I think, that got passed or is trying to get passed. I don't know, but it's a hate crime law. And it had people of color this, people of color that. Everybody was saying it. And it became something about like Asians or something. And I'm like, I don't understand why we're beefing up laws. We already have hate crime laws. They're just called fucking laws. If you do something harmful to a person, no matter what they are, it's against the law. You call the police, you file a report, you go from there. Why do we need to beef up laws for people of color, and then it ends up being for a specific race? And 9 times out of 10, it ain't to help blacks. So get out of here, man. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, for sure. I want to bring up this comment because I think that I wanted to kind of touch on this before we moved on, because this is very important. FUD has said both parties function through their own socio-racist prisms, right? And I'll say this, right? What I see, just because once again, guys, y'all have to understand that I live in California and I live in LA. So like a lot of the things that you guys hear being discussed on like a national level, it is not like a theory for me. It is not something that, I have to just kind of dream up. No, it's like my reality. Like a lot of the laws and the policies that are being enacted on a national level, I live in a place where this is the reality now. And I'll say this, right, in terms of how I view it. If the Democratic Party feels that the black people are going to vote for them no matter what, which we kind of have been through recent history, for what the past at least like 60, 70 years, right? Yeah. It's been overwhelmingly Democratic. So they don't feel the need to try to campaign to you or to any of like your concerns, because they know that you're going to show up, right? And you juxtapose that to the Republican Party, who also knows that no matter what they try to give you, you're going to go vote Democratic. Neither one of those parties is incentivized to listen to a goddamn thing that you have to say, because one knows you're going to show up regardless for them, and the other one knows that you're not going to show up regardless of what they offer you. That's literally what I see, right? So it matters in certain aspects when they try to parade Kamala Harris in front of us and try to tell us that this lady is black and try to garner the black vote that way. This is the most despicable shit I've seen. This is so troubling to me. The fact that they are going through these links to try to sell you something that is clearly not true.
Because they think it means something. Because
Right.
they know on a very basic level, a lot of people will connect with the fact that she's just black.
Exactly. Right. And I do hear that sentiment stated, right? Because I live in California. You know what I'm saying? This is the land of that type of rhetoric, right? So I get it. But at the same time, I don't think that people that live in these kind of places realize like how the rest of the country is feeling, right? Like everybody doesn't agree with LA and New York.
Yeah.
Like it's just not the reality of the situation, right? So when you continue to try to gaslight us and lie to us in such blatant and like flagrant ways, this is wild.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, one side is, or one opinion is to ask the question like, oh, well, where's your family from? And the other is, looks black to me. And only one of those sounds racist to me.
Right?
Looks black to me.
Right. But let's move on because I wanted to kind of have that before I had this conversation, because we're going to get into a lot of this discussion that has been surrounding the migrant situation. Because I'm not going to lie, guys. I did a little bit of a deep dive into this and I was truly disturbed. It was a struggle for me to find a video that I could actually show on YouTube. Right? I was talking to Leon about some of the stuff that I saw, and it's very disturbing. So what this part of the conversation, and I really wanted to is this where I really want y'all to shine before I play these videos. I want Leon to tell this story that he's shared with me a couple times off camera, and I also want Andy's take, because it's a cultural conversation and Andy just happens to be an African. You know what I'm saying? It's my African brother right there. You know what I mean? So, look, whoever wants to go first, whoever wants to take it, y'all know what to do. Yeah, I'm gonna just toss this one in the air.
Who wants to go first?
Wait, what? I thought you were gonna play something first.
Yeah, I thought Leon's telling a story.
No. We're gonna talk a little bit first, and then we're gonna play the videos. Yeah.
Well, my story got to go after that because it'll connect
Afterwards?
to.
Okay.
Yeah, it would make more sense. You know what I mean?
Okay, fine. We'll just play the videos first.
As like a proof of anecdotal experience. You know what I mean?
You know what? You're absolutely right. So let's go through. This is the second of the long videos that I said that I was gonna have to play. But then we got a few more to get through after that. But they're much quicker. So let's tap in.
Listen, I am not Haitian, but I am from the Caribbean. The Haitian immigrants are indeed eating animals. Let me tell you something about these people. Not only are they harvesting cats for food, but also for witchcraft purposes. voodoo purposes. Understand this. If you don't want to take my word for it, go out there, meet a Haitian, talk to them about it. This is not something they aren't proud of. It's their culture. They eat these animals and they use the blood and bones of these animals for voodoo and witchcraft purposes. This is not a joke. The fact that they are here illegally, Kamala did say she gave them a temporary protection, over 100,000 of them. But here's the thing, for good luck purposes, they will harvest cats. They will use the blood and the bone of these cats. They consume these things because they believe it brings good luck and good juju. This is not a joke. It's a fact. This is their culture. This is what they believe. They will die on a hill on this belief. Like I said, meet a Haitian, talk to them about it. This is not something I'm guessing. This is something I am telling you. I've had conversation with these people. I know of plenty of these people who, in Jamaica, where I am from, they have a great relationship with wrongdoers in Jamaica. These people they trade good, well, not mine, but our Jamaican good ganja for weed, for cocaina, and for pew-pews. And every single move they make, they perform their rituals, which they believe after these rituals, they will not get touched, they will not get caught by the police or by law enforcement, Coast Guard, the military, whatever. They have very well success rate when it comes to traveling by boat across the Jamaican-Haitian border. They do this damn near weekly. Like I said, this is not speculations from me. This is a fact. I am telling you, I know these people. I know what I'm talking about. I could even go into more details of the things they do when it comes to their rituals based off of stories that I've heard from them directly. But due to the sensitivity of TikTok, I'll leave that alone. But understand this, those ducks / geese / dogs / cats, they are going missing. They are eating them. They are harvesting their blood for witchcraft and voodoo purposes. I'm not capping. Do not come on here, white liberals and black liberals. Do not come on here and tell me that I'm capping or I'm talking bullshit or I don't know what I'm saying. This is stuff I personally have spoke with these people about, okay? This is pure knowledge. This is not speculations. And give it time, it will end up on your doorsteps. This is their culture, this is their belief, this is what they do regardless. Fresh out of Haiti, they're not Americanized. They are gonna practice what they know, hands down. And this is something, like I said, they are proud of, okay? So you can locate one of them and talk to them yourself. And if an Americanized Haitian want to get up on under my comments and try to deny any of this, before you do that, talk to your meme and your grandma and your grandpepe, who's been born and raised in Haiti, who know about this stuff, before you come and try to challenge me on anything, okay? I'm spitting facts, point blank, period, no question, okay? And like I always say, Trump Vance, I was choking on that one, too much truth, but Trump Vance 24, baby, let's go.
Man, crazy, right? And Frank says, he says, Sky with the receipts, man, we ain't even, it's Yo, it was so much shit that I saw on the internet, bro. I really like. I was thinking about just blurring some of it out and then just showing you guys the video still, but I kind of didn't even want to do that, you know. But that's what we about to discuss. Is this racism or is this a cultural conversation? Do y'all want to dig into some conversation, or do y'all want me to keep playing videos?
You can go for the video, bro, because I think people need to really see, because they heard from someone of the culture, right, and of island descent.
Absolutely.
So now they need to see some stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
I'll say this too before you play anything. I work with Haitians, a few, and we've had these discussions. This isn't a part of the example that I'm going to give, but it's funny because I work with some, and we were talking about that at work, and we were laughing about it. Like, people are acting like this shit is fake. Like, really? Like, that's the shit that happens. You know what I mean? And they were talking about it very matter of factly. You know, the separation from a Haitian that's been here and a Haitian that just came. You know, but anyways.
Facts, right?
Okay,
now this is a video from a lady from Springfield, Ohio, right? And she actually oh wait, we're about to say something, Andy?
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, this is a video from a lady from Springfield, Ohio, who put out a video that kind of went viral, and then she put out another one kind of doubling down on what she said. So let's check out what she had to share.
This shit ain't no joke. It's not funny. I really do not feel fucking safe here, bro. Like, everyone on TikTok, on Facebook, making these jokes to get everything fucking funny. Like, imagine you being homeless for a whole fucking year for no fucking reason. Like, what the fuck? This shit is not fun. This shit is not cool, bro. They really out here decapitating animals, and y'all are making jokes out of it. Imagine if you went outside and you saw your dog's head decapitated on the fucking ground. Like, why are y'all thinking this shit's a joke? It's not a joke. I don't feel comfortable walking anywhere. Like, what the fuck? I should be able to feel safe in my own city. Everybody's fucking homeless out here. Ain't shit but fucking scary ass Haitians just lurking and creeping and shit. Y'all thinking this shit's motherfucking funny? Like, keep making this shit up. It's not made up, bro. This shit is real life. This shit is really affecting me. Like, what the fuck? For everybody sitting here saying, oh, you just wanted to engage me, you made up a fake story for views. I never thought that I was going to go fucking viral. It was supposed to be a post and delete. Now I'm on motherfucking Twitter crying and shit. Like, y'all think I'm lying? I'm not fucking lying, bro. What do I gotta do to get y'all to... I even posted a picture of the dead fucking pig that they killed and fucking chopped off the head and took the motherfucking guts out of it, but TikTok took it down because it was too vulgar. What else y'all want me to do? Get on Twitter for yourself. Get on Facebook for your fucking self. I've been linking proof. The fuck, I didn't read the police report, because if you look closely, yeah, you can get charged with larceny for stealing fucking animals and stealing fucking pet shit that you're not supposed to steal. Them ducks is federal. You're not allowed to fucking kill those. You are not allowed to hunt those. It's not even hunting season. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, I'm really about to delete the video, for real, because I was not asking to go viral with this. I'm just stating my story and the shit that happened to me. And for everyone talking about the original video, talking about some... oh, well, you say you didn't know. Yeah, because after I posted that, someone sent me a DM on Facebook, someone from Springfield personally, showing me pictures and videos that they doing this to all these animals, and ain't nobody doing shit about it. This shit is not funny. It's not a joke. It's not cute. Trump is not fucking lying. I don't even fuck with Trump. So it took a lot for me to even get on this app and even say anything, because I don't fuck with dudes.
Man.
And she don't even rock with Trump.
Don't even rock with the motherfucker, right? Man, y'all have anything to add?
Sorry, I was muted. I was just gonna say, what the elites don't want you to know is that the ducks at the park are free, and I have like 458 ducks at my house. Do y'all remember that Alex Jones like meme? Oh my gosh.
Oh shit, man.
I think it's bullshit, man. This idea that it's racist. It's not racist, it's cultural. again, I'm not Haitian, but in South Africa, we have Muti in the middle of metropolitan Johannesburg at like a lot. So like we have hawkers, people that sell, trinkets like sunglasses, cans of Coke and stuff at the just intersections. Some people do flips just for money. And there'll be people passing out pamphlets to witch doctors to do like Muti rituals. Talking about curing ED through like, witch doctor magic, and then putting curses on people. They'll get curses taken off of you. Like there's like a guide for that shit. And they're sitting here being like, oh, it's just like this doesn't happen. Also, it's not just African countries. All these type of things, like, we have poaching problems. Where do you think the rhino horns go to? Like, why do you think they kill rhinos? They send that over to Asia. It's to like, it's believed to cure like fertility or virility and stuff. This weird thing where on one hand, they'll be like, oh, it's so intolerant, while ignoring the culture that comes from. It's classic doublethink. It's not happening. To say it's happening is racist, but you need to respect the cultures of these people coming to this country. But that's part of their culture.
Right. Man. Hey, I also, because look, we about to keep going, right? Because I don't know if this is sinking in for them yet, So as I was doing a little bit of research, and I told this to Leon, can y'all believe that this is not a recent thing that has been going on, guys? You guys would have thought that like Trump would have just made this up. Like this shit hasn't been talked about, but for the last 2 weeks or ever since the debate when he said it, right? Watch this. And I'm gonna move the banner because I want you guys to see the date.
Laws and culture is 180 degrees different of what they're used to. And one of the things that I heard that bothered me very much, I've actually had quite a few people contact me here lately, is some pretty horrid things occurring to domesticated animals in the neighborhood. We've had some stuff in the park that again, they're being taken advantage of for reasons other than, and if you shake your head, Brian.
No. I asked me if there was proof. I just don't have proof of it.
I have the same thing. People that have confided in me have asked me for anonymity. I can't give their names up.
We haven't seen the proof that you're talking. And I've heard about it too.
Yeah.
That was from March.
It's funny. It's like, where's the proof? Oh, but we just asked for the proof. We've heard about it. So what are you doing about it?
That was from March, guys.
Absolutely nothing.
That was from fucking March. So this isn't even a new thing. This has been going on for months.
Yep.
Right? Now, I still don't know if you guys get what's happening. All right. This is the one that I was comfortable showing just for people, just for sake. I've seen videos of a dog being barbecued.
Saw that.
Like it's insane. But let's just check this one out, because if this one was on the news, so I feel cool sharing this clip. But here you guys go.
Wait a minute. I thought Kamala and ABC, the moderators during the debate, said that this wasn't happening.
Neighborhood crime alert for pet owners in the Springfield neighborhood after really a disturbing incident caught on camera. The owner of this cat tells News4Jax Ashy was attacked and killed on her front steps and then taken Saturday night. This happened on Red Wing Street near Maine. This comes as Springfield neighbors say several cats have gone missing recently. News4Jax reporter Eric Avanier spoke to one witness, and we want to warn you, the details are disturbing.
And he came back and started coaxing the cat, communicating with the cat. And once he put his hand up, he just grabbed it, quickly took it down, walked it over here, and just kneeled on top of it.
Spencer says that's when he took out his cell phone and started recording video of the man attacking the cat.
I was able to film him, bound the cat some kind of way, and put it in a plastic tarp and walk.
I can't express how disgusting that is.
Don't be ignorant.
No, Andy's hilarious, bro. Look, I'm just. Do you guys get what's going on here?
I had my bottom lip poked out the entire time, like, oh.
Andy was sitting
I
here
love Cat.
laughing, making jokes about Ashy.
Oh,
right.
Rest in peace, Ashy. That's a hilarious fucking name.
That's why.
I was laughing.
He was like, Ashy.
With the context, like, dear God.
But no, that's
It's
terrible.
Crazy, bro. Right? And no,
That's
that
terrible.
wasn't the crazy cat lady, because they was like, yeah, that lady was, that wasn't even. It's like, all right, fine.
It's like you said with the Colorado stuff, though. They deny it because it doesn't fit the party narrative. And then when evidence comes out, there's no retraction. And again, nobody learns and says, hey, when they're quick to deny it and not acknowledge it, there's probably something there.
Some truth,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think that this is racism at all to talk about this stuff. I think that this is a culture conversation. And that's when I wanted Leon to go ahead and share his story, because I think that it's very apropos for what we've been talking about in these conversations recently. So floor is all yours, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a cultural conversation, because that sort of behavior and those sort of practices, they go across cultural demographics. It's not like exclusive to Haitians or exclusive to Islanders. Well, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I won't give away too many details of where these people were from or what nationality, etc. But they were neighbors of ours, and very powerful neighbors at that. And they had what I would consider a mini farm in their backyard. They had everything: chickens, pigs, sheep, like you name it, in this backyard, in a neighborhood that's not it's not like a large neighborhood. It's about a medium-sized suburban neighborhood. And my folks, very chill, very cool with the neighbors, didn't really raise a fuss. We're like, well, whatever, they're doing their thing, it's not bothering us. That's usually how to be racist. That's usually how FBAs act, Foundational Black Americans. We tend to mind our own effing business. You know what I'm saying? So,
To a
but
very large degree.
Facts. And they were actually really cool effing neighbors. They were. I actually was dating one of the cousin that always used to come and visit, and her and I were cool, and we started seeing each other. And she would put me up on game about their culture big time, and dope culture, etc. Until they started to butcher and skin animals in the backyard and the front yard. And one time they skinned and butchered a whole sheep in the front yard and washed the guts down the driveway as if they were in their homeland. And like everything was fine. Like it was just another day. And I remember they had the skin just kind of hanging there. My mother at the time was freaking the F out. She was going ham. And my father was at work. I just remember going to my mother and being like, trying to calm her down, and she was going off. And she went over there after getting herself together, tried to be as calm as possible and let them know this is not how we do things here. And I'll never forget her saying something to this effect: in America, this is not how we do things. Y'all should know better. This is disgusting and unsanitary. You do not wash animal guts down the driveway in hopes that it'll go down the damn drain. Because we had a sewer drain that was like in front of the house, in between our house and their house. So luckily, you know, it was like right there. But what if it wasn't? And just to add a little bit more detail to their lifestyle, these people own several businesses in the area. These people were well off, millionaires, had an arsenal for a gun collection, to the point that I actually found this out when I was going. No, actually, I found this out as a kid, but I was reminded after 9/11, and they were like, you know, telling us if we need any protection, we got your back, kind of thing. And I had already seen the arsenal, so these people weren't like, you know, ignorant to the practices of what should or shouldn't take place on American soil, but they were still inundated with their own culture. They're going to do what they do naturally. I mean, they didn't mean any harm, but guess what? They respected my mother's reaction and other neighbors' reaction. Mostly my mother. I'm not gonna lie. My mother was going off, and rightfully so. And anyway, this was the early 2000s. 99 going into 2000, 2001 sort of thing, right? We are now, what, 20 some odd years later, and we're having this conversation talking about racism. No, this is just culture, and it has nothing to do with their color, because these people weren't of black descent. I'm not going to tell you what they were at all, but they just weren't of black descent. And they're very rich. So this had nothing to do with even class. This is just straight up, this is my culture. This is what I do.
They don't even know they're doing nothing wrong like that.
Exactly.
You know, that's the thing. Like,
Yep.
if, you know, in Japan, you can't spit on the ground, like, at all.
Same thing with Singapore. You can't
Right.
spit gum on the ground or throw trash. And I think you're not even, I think it's frowned upon if you spit.
Yeah. So it's like, I could just be, you know, coughing up and my little normal, you know, and then that's like a problem there. You know?
You know the nickname phrase in Singapore?
No.
They say it's a fine country, meaning
Oh.
you get fined for all
You
kind of
find
shit.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I just had to kind of have you guys come talk about this stuff, because I think that this aspect of the conversation is very important, and I wanted to
Absolutely.
kind of get you guys' reactions to seeing that stuff too, because they're trying to tell people that this stuff is not happening. And that's my issue, right? It's that this is not even about like is this isn't even about, you know, a person or like a party or anything like that. I think that when you have conversations in good faith with most people, we are all pretty much aligned on these issues. This is about who is lying to you, right? That's all that I want to focus on, right? Because as I've just shown you guys, Kamala Harris is not black. Who's telling you that she is? Right? There are pets and stuff being taken advantage of in Springfield, Ohio, and all across the country. There are people telling you that that's not happening, right? Like they're literally like lying to you guys. So we can feel however we want to feel about whoever, but at the same time, if we do not acknowledge who is like lying about what is going on in the country right now, right? Like I think once we move the needle to that part of the conversation, it actually becomes a very easy conversation to have with people, right? But we're being lied to on a massive level right now, and I think that the only way forward for us, and that's why I think it's so important, and why this thing is not gonna unrail or anything, because I know that there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, but I don't think that that necessarily has to be the case. I don't think that the plans that these people have for our country, I don't think that they have to come true. You know, there isn't anything that is set in stone that says, like, oh, we just have to sit back and allow this shit to happen and that there's nothing that we can do, because that's not true. Right? But we all have to be aware of what is going on. And I just don't think that that it's a very hard conversation to have once you start looking at it from that angle. What you guys want to add?
Go ahead, Andy.
No, I agree. Like, I think you need to always question anybody who's trying to shut down what should be a very open and honest conversation. Like, there's zero reason to be weird about having conversations about these things. But they continue to put boxes around any topic that might not help their narrative and say, oh, well, to talk about it, to question it, to even be interested in it is somehow akin to being a merchant of hate. And it's not. There's nothing wrong with asking Kamala Harris where her family's from. I mean, if people ask me where I'm from, I'm sure you guys can ask where you're from. Like, that's just interest.
I'm from Inglewood, homie, West Side. No, I'm just playing.
I'm gonna need you to make it more generic for me because just lock it into a continent for me. Like, but no, but I agree. I think
I'm from a rebel moon.
Rebel moon. I think it's pretty heartening because I think more and more people are just tuning out this rhetoric and they're like, nah, dude, this is not true. These are lies. There's an entire apparatus that deals exclusively in lies, and people, I think, inherently seek out truth. And so it means that they can only end up at one place, and it's in more honest conversations. People don't like being lied to. And when the lies become as egregious as they're becoming, that's why you see people leaving the Young Turks. That's why you see more and more people being open to conversations that last year maybe they weren't willing to have. And so the people trying to make this a contentious, period in American history are actually just making it impossible for them to have a future.
This is a great conversation, man. Shouts out to you, Andy. Great points, bro. As always. Leon, what about you? What's on your mind, bro?
No, very well said. I just think that we just need to we need to keep having conversations like this, and we have to step out on faith that, even as small as these conversations are, that they're going to trickle out, as corny as it sounds, like the pebble in the pond, and just have a large ripple effect. Hopefully we can make some waves, because the more and more we keep having these kind of conversations, the better. And it's a shout out to you in particular, Sky, because what you're doing with your platform and your voice and galvanizing people such as ourselves, this is a great look. I can't really tell you how many channels that are bigger than yours and having more production, also the nonsense, well, not nonsense, but whatever, the things that almost feel like they don't matter, that aren't as comprehensive. What you're doing right now is on par with whether you like her or not, right? Not you, but just the audience. Is like a Candace Owens, very comprehensive. You got clips, you got cited sources, you got things to back it up, and you're not afraid to have a conversation, and you're not afraid to go there. I can't really tell you any other channels really doing this on a large scale. I hear a lot of talk, you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think even further this, you know, highlighting solutions would be another thing that we can do for sure. Because I know we're smart individuals, you know, highlighting, because that's the thing that I can almost hear it now. What are we gonna do? And it's like, it's gonna come to a point where it's almost not enough to just show them, haha, we got the receipts. We're gonna have to start holding hands and walking them towards solutions, you know?
Yeah, man. Yo, thank you for your words, yo. And yeah, I do enjoy having these conversations, and I'm honestly like super grateful to have guys like y'all and gals like Katie here for these conversations, uh, because I think it really helps. And when I am talking with people in real life that watch my stuff and they say what they say, it really makes it hit a lot different, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's
because I've literally heard people say like, "Yo, I'm learning so much from your streams," and I was like, "Damn," you know. So it just kind of highlighted it. But what were you gonna say, Andy?
No, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, your authenticity also dismantles propaganda, because, like, what are they gonna say to you? What are they be like? Oh, you're just like the black face of white supremacy, and then like talking to you, it's like, it means like, well, that's just not the case. Like, this guy's just asking questions, drawing conclusions, and thinking logically through stuff, and it gives more people the ability to say, it's like, hey, maybe it's not this terrible thing to just be objective and think things through. And actually, maybe that's not just my right. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing that. Like, maybe I'm supposed to be questioning and just having honest conversations. And so, like, when people do that, and like you're like going out there and like unashamedly having these conversations, it would be so much easier for you just to play the milk toast. Oh, let's all just be cool, I don't want to rock the boat. It's going to look bad, especially where you live in. It's going to look bad on me if I. It would be so easy for you to be a coward with this stuff and not share what you're learning and feeling. So that's awesome,
man. Yo, first, thanks to you for saying that. And I'll just say this: for anybody thinking that I'm a white supremacist, if you were to look at some of like my old like basketball footage, you know what I'm saying, you probably try to accuse me of a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? So like,
damn,
just like, hey, I'm not, bro. What? It's crazy. No, honestly, I love having these conversations, and I think that the whole is better for us just talking about this stuff, right? Even if we get some stuff wrong, right? I'm not saying that I'm absolutely right on everything. I just try to be factful in what I bring to you guys in terms of information, right? But in terms of like my opinion, I've been wrong about a bunch of stuff, and I've been open about that, right? Especially y'all that have followed me for quite some time. Y'all have seen, there are some relationships that I made the wrong decisions with. And, I mean, look, there's been plenty of stuff that Sky's been wrong about, right? And I'm not, too big to say that. I just try to bring at least factful information, and having these conversations is something that I definitely am very passionate for. And I can't just not talk about this stuff. I try you know, but look, I got a big stream coming up tomorrow where we're gonna be talking about some stuff, and it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. But I had to kind of get this out first before I do that. You know what I mean? It's just this stuff is too important, and I think that especially with the time that we're in now, we're really on the precipice of us just going one of two ways. And I think that you know which way that we choose is going to be very important in terms of just how we live our daily lives, right? Like I think that we could very easily wake up in a different country one day soon if you know things aren't really handled the way that they should be handled. And then what do you do, right? Like it's gonna be hard talking about movies and shit. It's probably gonna be looking like Mad Max outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, y'all remember during C-19 how that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much news was going out, right? Come on now. And that's when, never mind, I ain't gonna say because that's when they started talking about the Snyder cut, low key.
No, but
right?
that was the
But
moment when you realized
Mm-hmm.
something's not on the up.
Right? But
And though that side of the aisle are definitely looking for another excuse to have everybody on lockdown. Like that's just facts, you know.
Bro, I think if that first attempt went wrong, we'd have been on lockdown, bro. I
Yep.
wholeheartedly think that. They didn't meet. Oh yeah, we got to figure out what's going on, right? The perpetrator's still on the loose because he'd have still been on the loose.
There's another attempt today. You saw?
What?
They caught him before, but it was like all over the news, like a third attempt. But they like the kind of like Secret Service caught him before they got like closed or whatever.
Bro, man, look.
What? That's crazy.
I heard something about the son of the second guy too getting arrested for something. Look,
That might have been what it was. Yeah, that might have been what it was. They was talking about bounties and stuff and a note.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, 150,000. Man, it's I don't know. Crazy stuff going on right now. I just think that having these conversations is super important. I'm gonna look more into that. We are about to wrap up. I want to get everybody's final thoughts, and I'm gonna play one last video because y'all know that I like ending these kind of streams on videos. You know what I'm saying? So let me get the final thoughts first. Andy and Katie, if she's still there, I'm not sure, but HMDS. First of all, thank you guys for having this conversation, man, and for pulling up on short notice. I know that I didn't really give you guys a lot of runway, but I appreciate y'all being here, and this most definitely would not have been the same stream without you guys here. So appreciate y'all, and what's your final thoughts?
Thanks so much for having us. Always down to have these kind of conversations. I think it's just like Leanne says, we got to have these conversations. And what I get a great amount of, or I find very heartening, is, you know, you're hosting this, but you know, and what you're doing is awesome. But you know that it's just letting other people know that other people can be having these conversations too. And the more people having conversations means that maybe this period in our lives where everybody lives in these bubbles, maybe that's just going to get popped, and we can stop just like that video you pulled up said, like, you know, living, you know, your life on this like dogma of who you voted for, and we can just start being real with one another, start talking about the issues and not attacking each other, because this whole system definitely benefits on, you know, the ad hominem, and just, I mean, even like we were talking about earlier with the idea of, you know, why is there this idea that simply being black would get Kamala votes? And like I said, I think it's manufactured. I think it's a narrative that way, no matter what happens with the election, you can always turn people against one another and say, oh man, it's because these people always vote for this person, or these people didn't vote for this person. And it's just a nice way to chop, actual human beings up into just demographics that really don't mean a whole lot. And I think the solution to that is just to have human conversations.
Yo, well said, Andy. Appreciate you, man, wholeheartedly. Thank you for being here, bro. And my African brother. Oh man, I love this platform. Anyway, shouts out to HMDS. Y'all put a link in the chat for HMDS's platform, please. Somebody hit that subscribe button. They do a lot of dope content, and I will be over there Fan Rant Thursday, which is my birthday this weekend, right? Or not weekend, but Thursday. I don't know why I said that, but shouts out. Andy, you crazy. Shouts out to them. I will be on there on my birthday on Thursday for Fan Rant Thursday, and I'm very excited for that. And thank you, Mama Bear. Wait, start that. Yeah. Leon, what's your final thoughts? Oh, wait. Were you saying something, Andy?
I was just saying thanks, Mama Bear.
Oh, yeah. For sure. We love Mama Bear. Leon, what's your final thoughts, bro? And thank you for pulling up too, man. Didn't give you much runway either, but you came here and killed it as usual, bro. And I appreciate that. What's your final thoughts as we close this thing on out, Brody?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure being here as usual, man. The Syndicate Network is essential to these sort of conversations within this geek sphere, because entertainment is definitely one of the arms of the gov. So we just got to keep it a buck around here. That's the foundation of the Syndicate Network, is to always enlighten and keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. As a foundational Black American, as an American, as a man, I'm proud to be a part of these conversations because we're Black. And we've been told and labeled that we should walk, talk, and act a certain way. And what we're doing right now, popular opinion on entertainment and legacy media says that we are basically Uncle Toms, and you ain't Black if you don't vote a certain way. And I think it's important to see men such as ourselves up here having these conversations. So I'm happy to have these conversations, and I'm glad to be a part of something that hopefully grows. Like Andy said, us having this conversation is just the example of, I know I keep saying conversation, but that's important to keep saying the word conversation, because not enough people are having it. They're arguing, or they're just afraid, or they're just parroting the same rhetoric that they hear every day. And we're going against the grain. So everybody do the same. If you don't believe us, do your own research. For those that do rock out with us and understand where we're coming from, is from a center of truth. Spread the word. Do your own streams, no matter what the subscription count is. Do your own thing. Join in. Maybe one day we'll put up a link and we'll have a full panel and hear other people's opinions, when the time is right. I think that'll be dope. But yeah, thank you, Andy, Katie, HMDS, the Syndicate Network fam, the chat, everybody for showing up. You're much appreciated as usual.
Yes. Shouts out to the homie Apex Leon of the New Geeks.
For sure.
Pulling up, you know what I'm saying? I want to just thank everybody for being here and having this conversation. I think that this shit is very important, that we continue to talk about these things. Like I said, I don't think we're as far off as the media tries to portray. one thing that I wanted to kind of focus on with this stream specifically was like these lies, right? And you guys are going to see this in this last video, because there's been a whole bunch of stuff that people just kind of believe, and I see it. And with me living in California, it's kind of like that same thing that I was talking about with that DC conversation, where I was talking to one of my coworkers and she just said that, you know, she didn't like the DC movies because they were too dark. And then we went through the DC movies one by one, and then she said that she pretty much liked them all. And then she said, I don't even know why I said that. Right? These things obviously work, right? When you hear things repeated over and over just throughout the zeitgeist, wherever you go, even if you don't believe that you can trust the government, you know, I think a lot of people, they're still inundated with all the things that they consume on social media and through their television, right? So they continue to hear these things, and so the message still gets through, right? One of those things that, you know, I used to believe that, you know, Trump was racist, right? And I heard this repeatedly. I heard that he was racist for the border situation and him wanting to shut the border down, which I thought was weird. I'm like, why is that a racial thing? Like, every country has borders. You know, you can't be a country if you don't have a border, right? Like, that's literally part of what makes a country is a border, right? It's a place of, area that you kind of or occupy, for lack of a better term. I don't want to use that term in a way that people are like, oh my, nah, but you know what I mean though, right? So with that being is the case, you just continue to hear these things that, hey, he's racist, this, that, and the third. And another thing that I constantly heard was, hey, he supports white supremacy because of the fact that, you know, he's been endorsed by white supremacists and he has refused to rebuke their endorsement, you know. And so before we leave and as we head out, I just want to play this video and we're gonna head on out. So I want to thank you guys for rocking out with the stream. You dig? And we're gonna get at y'all next time. I got a very, very fun conversation coming tomorrow. I cannot wait for it.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God. Andy, you at least got to be in the chat for that, bro.
For sure.
At least. Because we're about to have a great conversation. You know, I can't wait for y'all to see the angle too. I'm gonna tell you, Leon, after the stream. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Very, very fun stream planned tomorrow. I also got a birthday stream where I will be tapping in with y'all on my birthday, as I customarily do. You know what I mean? We're gonna kick it, hang out for a little bit, and I will be on Fan Rant Thursday as well. And that's how we're gonna close out this week. So or before cartoons and cereal, where we will continue watching Twilight of the Gods, right? Because that's definitely on the menu. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, very excited. And yeah, just watch this video and I'll get at y'all next time. Peace.
Tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups.
You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again, the white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow.
David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
Trump's refusal to condemn, distance himself from white supremacists.
The Anti-Defamation League is already out there asking the president to clarify why he didn't condemn white supremacists.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy, claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Just to clear it up this morning, can you, naming it, make a declarative statement that you denounce, that the president denounces it?
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
President Donald Trump signed a congressional joint resolution that condemns white supremacy, neo-Nazis, and other hate groups.
When he was asked to condemn white supremacists, he didn't.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
When specifically asked if he would denounce white supremacists, that the president dodged it.
I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
Well, I have to say that it's disappointing that a sitting U.S. president can't outright condemn white supremacy.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
The President of the United States, in the year of our Lord 2020, refuses to condemn white supremacists.
Any group of hate, I don't like it. Any group of hate, I am, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's any other kind of supremacy, whether it's Antifa, whether it's any group of hate, I am very concerned about it, and I'll do something about it.
He has yet once to condemn white supremacy, the neo-Nazis. He hasn't condemned the darn thing.